Welcome in, everybody, to a special game preview here for the Wisemen Say podcast. Ty Fisher alongside Nathan. Can you pronounce your last name for me?
Durec.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Nathan Durec, how are you, buddy?
I'm pretty good. Yourself?
Not too bad. Obviously, big matchup this Saturday, Columbus, Vancouver. Both teams missing quite a bit of players. So as Steve Cangelosi just referenced to me, both teams are playing with a depleted roster, so it's going to be interesting to see how they line up.
You know what? It's going to feel a lot better for us because we're going to have actually a whole lot more players back than we did last week. So
yeah, 100%. But to kick things off, obviously a heartbreaker in Cruz Azul in the 5-0 CONCACAF Champions Cup loss. But the response on the rebound from that obviously was essentially a positive sight. Am I wrong?
It was very positive. We knew that it was going to be a tough match coming in. We're playing Seattle, which is a Cascadia rival for us. It's a rivalry that predates MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And we had no players to play it, pretty much. We had 9 players on international duty. Ryan Gauld, who is our captain and kind of beating heart, who's been out for the past few months. And then we end up with everyone coming back with a gastrointestinal illness from Mexico. So we're out, I think in total, we were out 18 players.
That's
rough. I don't know if that's ever happened before, but it was something. So we ended up with a bench of our second team.
Yeah.
We signed 7 players to short-term contracts. And you know what? The Jesper Sorensen, to his credit, he made some changes. He changed the formation. He put people in positions to succeed rather than fail and try to, fit players into his system. He tried to build his system to the players he had available, and he ended up getting a 3-0 win. So it worked.
That's a lot better than Columbus because we played with E. coli, I believe. So that was even rough. But coming into Columbus,
you guys went through the same thing previously. That's right,
against Pachuca. Yeah. But coming into this match, obviously, it sounds like you guys have a lot of players back from the illness. But Columbus is still without a couple of key players. Malde Amundsen, Sean Zawatsky, Patrick Schulte, Max Arfson, who's away on Gold Cup duty. This is not the matchup that I was hoping. I was hoping we'd have full strength, 100% squads. Vancouver, on the other hand, is coming in with a positive result against Seattle, while Columbus has had 2 weeks off after our 5-1 loss to Inter Miami. What is Vancouver going to do to get 3 points out of this matchup?
Honestly, just keep doing exactly what they're doing. I think they're still the only team that's still undefeated on the road in MLS right now. We're still going to be missing a few players. All of our players on the Canadian and American national teams are going to be missing. So that's 5 guys that are pretty integral to how we play. Brian White, Seb Berhalter with the American side, and then Ali Ahmed, Jaden Nelson, and it was Sam Adekugbe, but unfortunately Sam Adekugbe in the last Canadian matchup had a season-ending injury with a torn Achilles. So, I think the one thing that the Whitecaps are going to be looking at is to get back to their high-press, possession-based game. It's something that they weren't able to do in Seattle because they simply just didn't have the same players available in order to play at that level.
Yeah.
But now that you're getting, that structure back in midfield with an Andres Cubas and a Pedro Vite, you're going to be able to try and dictate play much more effectively.
For Vancouver, also, you just mentioned that they like to possession-based style of play. That's Columbus also.
Yeah.
If one team has the ball more than the other, what are we looking at? Possibly a 0-0 draw, maybe? Because the way that Columbus likes to play is they obviously have a high line, and it caught us very bad against Miami. But with Vancouver, I find it a little bit more of a free flowing kind of gentle buildup as opposed to Columbus, who like to just spring the wing backs and just counterattack. So, how do you think Sorensen will kind of counteract a very fast paced possession Columbus Crew side?
Normally, I would say with a very, very aggressive press, but a lot of that is run through Brian White. So it's going to be difficult to do that when you've got someone like Daniel Rios that's going to be leading that front line. In this case, I think it's going to be. I mean, you kind of alluded to a little bit. It's going to feel a bit more like a chess match, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be more of trying to poke holes and patience, right? Vancouver is totally fine if they need to go back to a counterattacking team. That's kind of what they did with Seattle. In fact, watching Seattle reminded me of last year in the old Vanni Sartini days, almost in how they were playing. They've shown that they're capable of doing it, and Jesper has shown that he is much more adaptive than previous regimes that Vancouver has had. I don't see it being much of an issue, except who do we have? I know training on Tuesday was still canceled because they still had too many players dealing with the gastrointestinal thing. I know they've been in training since Wednesday. It's just going to be a matter of, have they gotten their body weight back up? Have they passed load management? Players are going to be available. Are they going to be available for 90 minutes or is it going to be 60? I don't really know those questions yet. And I don't think they do. They're probably not going to know it until after they finish training today.
I know for Columbus, our biggest weakness has been our defensive back line. Leaky at times, obviously, as I keep referencing the 5-1 loss to Miami, which was just an absolute nightmare. But what should Columbus be on the lookout for against Vancouver that could exploit them very easily?
I would say Vancouver likes playing through their wingers.
Yeah.
They're basically set up like it almost feels like a traditional 4-3-3, right? It's very definite three lines, but those wingers have a little bit of free reign to roam a little bit, and they will go out wide. They will look inside. The Whitecaps aren't the same crossing team that they used to be. I think last year and the year before they were leading the league in crosses, but I feel like they've become more effective with the crosses that they are putting in. And mainly it's because they're coming from closer in to the striker. They're also looking very, very much for that second man coming in. So that middle line of three players has license to get forward if they see an opportunity. And a lot of times you will see whichever winger is crossing in, instead of a cross, they might cut it back to that trailing midfielder coming in. It's especially with Seb Berhalter. It's how he's gotten on the board a few times this season. We don't have him available for this game, but someone like a Ralph Priso, he's hungry, and we're waiting for him because he hasn't had a goal, I think, since he was back with Toronto.
Oh, wow.
We're actually calculating it. I don't think he's actually had a shot since he was with Toronto, and since then he's gone through like Colorado and then finally up here. So
wow.
Now that he's been given license to get up a little forward, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to fit himself into that mold a little bit.
Vancouver leads the league with expected goals at 36.99 to be exact. Columbus lead the league in completed passes with over 9,000. Obviously, both teams are essentially good. Columbus 2 points off of second place with rivals FC Cincinnati. Vancouver, top of the league, top of the Western Conference. I was looking at the match notes, and Vancouver actually have a winning record against the Columbus Crew at 5-3-3. This being their 12th matchup in all competitions this Saturday. What is one I think I already asked this, but what is one key to victory? Because Columbus obviously have a very good home ground at lower.com field.
Right.
Right. One key to victory for the Vancouver Whitecaps to make Columbus winless in 7.
Good question. There's a lot of unknowns with this game.
Yeah.
Especially because, like you said, with the number of players that are missing. So it's going to be, I think, Vancouver's strength is if they can get back to how they're used to playing. Seattle was all great, but you can't expect to rewrite the script every time and win every time. If you can get back to what has carried you to this point from the very beginning, I think that's going to give Vancouver its best opportunity. I think they're going to get the players back that's going to make that possible, but not 100%. You're still missing Brian White, and he's the guy that you need up front. Daniel Rios is struggling to find the net. He found it last game against Seattle, and that's great. I'm hoping that kind of got a little bit of the weight off his back. We'll have to wait and see. But as much as I think that they'll be able to get back to their ways, there's still questions as to whether or not the players that are going to be put into those positions are going to be able to be as effective as who you would normally have.
Is Jesper Sorensen probably the front runner for Coach of the Year? I say yes.
I think right now it's pretty tough to take him out. You take a look at the beginning of the season. It's funny because it's the big joke in Vancouver with all the pundits that basically had the Whitecaps finishing either out of the playoffs or 14th, 15th in the West.
Yeah.
And they're, leading the league. I'll tell you right now, nobody expected this.
I didn't expect it either.
I was hoping that they could get into, say, a top 6 in the West. Get out of those kind of play-in spots of the playoffs, get into the playoffs proper, and then maybe you never have to face LAFC every year, which has, been, I think, our last 3 years in a row, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, but what Jesper has done is he's taken the groundwork, I think, that Vanni Sartini had done over the past 3 years, which was very good, right? Yeah, he came in to a system and to a Whitecaps organization that was kind of dysfunctional. And him, together with Axel Schuster, who's the sporting director and CEO, have completely reshaped this club from inside and out. Jesper Sorensen, he likes to call himself, he's not the revolution, he's the evolution of this. So he's not taking and trying to rewrite the script. He's just trying to take what already works and go from there. And even to his surprise, like when we talked to him, he's surprised how fast it's worked. But he said it comes down to the players. They bought in.
On the flip side, really quick, what is one thing that Columbus should kind of attack Vancouver on for us to get a win?
You know what? Normally, I would say the fact that Sam Adekugbe is now out injured, and we're going to have to be putting a young kid in that position with Tate Johnson. Actually, I don't know. You would know better than me. The U20 American team. Do you know if those players have come back yet?
I honestly don't think if any of our guys have went.
Okay, because we had one guy go, and that was Tate Johnson, who 6 months ago was playing college. And now he's getting called up to the U20s, and he's getting very, very substantial minutes at left back. He's done very well, but he is still a very young kid, and he does make mistakes. He's very, very quick to learn from his mistakes, but with him more likely now going to be playing increased minutes with Sam now out for the entire season, this is one of those kids where either the load management will be too much, or he's going to be the first left back to win Rookie of the Year.
Fair enough,
right? I mean, it's kind of all or nothing.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely going to be odd because we have Max Arfston away with the USMNT. He's our left wing back. Columbus just signed a kid, Tristan Brown, to a homegrown deal. Came out from the academy. Obviously, out Patrick Schulte due to injury, Sean Zawoski due to injury, Malde Amundsen due to injury. We just brought back Yevhen Shaberko from Ukraine, brought back Steven Moreira from Cape Verde. So it's definitely a lot of what ifs or who if.
One of the big questions I have is with Ryan Gauld being out injured for as long as he has been, it's required players like Pedro Vite to step up.
Yeah.
And Vite is more effective if he's playing in the midfield and not as part of the attacking trio.
Yeah.
He can still do it, but if he drops back, he is able to be that maestro that kind of controls the middle of the park and is the creative force for everyone else ahead of him getting the ball. Because we're missing players like Nelson and Ahmed,
yep,
you might see Vite step up and play one of those positions. And if he does, there's going to be opportunities to exploit in midfield as well.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, oh man, excuse me. Holy crap. Baja Blast, man, is obviously not my friend today.
No worries.
Nathan, pleasure talking to you, man. It's always a good time talking with people from our little group chat on Twitter.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Where can the people of the Wisemen Say podcast find you?
Absolutely. So we have our podcast up here in Vancouver, Terminal City FC. You can find us anywhere else. You probably find your podcast, Spotify, Apple, all those good places. I also write for a group called Area 51 Sports Network. You can find us online. Twitter, X, Blue Sky, and Durec. And we post everything up through there, whether it's the podcast or any of the articles that we write.
Nathan, thank you so much for doing this, man. Have fun at Canada's training today.
I'm headed up there right away.
And hopefully we can have a little bit of a post-game chatter afterwards in messages or whatnot. Talk about how this match played out, whether it's in our favor or whether or not it's a boring 0-0 draw.
Which is very much within the realm of possibility, right?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Thank you so much, man.